I've started the class recording and we're going to begin. So today is going to be kind of long session and we're basically going to look at a lot of things. So this is the data set that we are going to use. So you can click on the data and download. So these are the two datasets that we are going to use. And as the name suggests, this is supposed to be an e-commerce dataset. Yeah, so I'll give you a few minutes to download the data. And as you are doing that, I'm going to open Power BI. Let me share the link with you in the chat. So the link for the dataset is available on chat, or you can open your Google Calendar and download it. Let's proceed. I'll click download this data. Maybe I can re-download it. We've got the orders.csv file. I'll save that. I'll replace. And then we've got the details.csv file. I'll save that as well. And then for everything that we are going to do here today, I'll document it here on Notion. So I've got Power BI open. What I'm going to do is I'm going to create a blank report. And for this blank report, I'll click get data. Then I'll choose text.csv. Let me screenshot this. So for everything that I'm doing, I'll create a screenshot and paste it to Notion. So get data and then text or CSV connect. Then I'll start with details.csv. So for details.csv, this is what we have. So we've got the order ID column, we've got the amount column, profit, quantity, category, subcategory, and payment mode. So those are the details. So I believe there is nothing much we can do over here for this dataset. So I'll just click load data. So if we maybe note that there are any issues that we might need to address later on for the dataset, we are going to change that. Then I'm going to click get data in again, and then I'll choose text.csv file. I'll click connect. Then we're going to pick the orders.csv file. So I'll click open. So we've got two files. You can see for orders.csv file, immediately there is an issue. Instead of having the exact column names, here I have column 1 to column 5. And then row number 1 is supposed to be the actual header. So what I'll do is I'll click transform data instead of load. Then I can expand this. So you can see we don't have any column headers. In terms of validity, the data is 100% valid and we've got no missing values over here. So how are we going to fix this issue whereby row number 1 is our header? So in under home tab, we've got this option for transform. Hope you can see it. And then we've got the option for use first row as header. So let me screenshot that and add it to the Notion notes. So that is another pre-processing that we've done. So use first row as headers. So I've done that transformation. And then another thing you'll note over here is order date is not a date column. So you'll need to change it. So you can change it to, okay, I believe this is not going to work because Power BI actually follows Excel date formatting, whereby it's supposed to be month, day, and year. Over here, it's month, it's day, month, then year. So if we try convert this to a date time column, uh, let's see if we can add it as a new step. Yeah, we get errors. You can see 61% of the dataset gives you error. So we'll need this as a string text ABC. Let me delete the step that we did to undo that. And then we are going to pre-process these next. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select the order date column. And once I've selected the order date column, I'm going to click add column. Hope you are following up on that. Let me give you a minute to load in the data and confirm that you are okay. So you can send a thumbs up if you are okay up to that point. So as you are loading the data, so for those who have joined us late, let me share the dataset link with you again. I'll share the dataset link with you in chat. Load the data, and then what we are transforming at the moment is the orders dataset. So I'll be back in a minute or two. Let me get some painkillers first. Hello, sorry for that. I'm back. Let's proceed. We need to pre-process the order date column to be in a good date format. So you're going to click order date, then you're going to add column. And then on add column, we've got this option that we have over here from text. Okay, so from text, we are going to click extract. Hope I'm not fast enough to leave you. So you go from home, you go to add column, then we've got this option over here called from text. So you click extract, and then over here you've got text after delimiter, because we've got this dash delimiter. So I'll click text after delimiter, and then for the delimiter we are going to use the dash sign. So this is the minus sign. So you add that. You can check the advanced options that you have over here to skip any values, but we don't need that in our case. Then I'm going to click OK. So if I do that, we now get a column that is month and year column. So what we can do is we can try convert these into a datetime object and see if it will be okay. So I'll select the data type up here at the top and then choose date. So if I choose date, you can see it's okay. This was, let's say, 24th of January 2018. So it has picked the first day of the month. So 1st January 2018. So I will say we don't need the actual date over here. So what we can do is you can delete this order date column at the end. So what we'll need to do over here for this analysis specifically is we'll need to create the order month. We can create the order month or maybe the month year column. So we can retain this, but we'll need to rename the column. So for us to rename the column, here you can see you can double click on it, and then you'll have an option for renaming the column. So over here, we are going to say the order cohort. So when I say order cohort, it will be linked to the year and month. So you'll know that this specific order came in from this cohort, the 2018. So it's 2018 to 20, there should be 2019 as well, but yeah, what I'm saying is just 2018. So this is data from January 2018 to December 2018. So this is the order cohort date. We can make it better. So we already know that the data set is just for 2018. So I'll select this, and then on add column, we've got the option for date, then month, then name of month. So this is something we've done before. So I'll click month, name of month, and then over here, I'll say this is the exact cohort. Okay, so I'll click enter. So once you've done that, you can delete the order date column because it will be replaced by the order cohort column. So I'll select that, and then I'll click remove, and we will have the order ID, customer name, state, city, order cohort, and the actual cohort, which is the actual month. So once that has been fully pre-processed, I can click on home, then I can click close and apply. So I'll give you guys 3 minutes to replicate what I have over here. If you are stuck in any of the steps that I've followed, you can raise your hand and mute and ask any questions that you might have. So 3 minutes. At 8:41 we proceed. So extraction for the order code column. So for extraction, I guess it was, yeah, it was this step, insert text after delimiter. So for you to insert text after delimiter, what you do is you select the column that you want to insert new text. So that is order date. And then you click this option of add column. And then we've got this option for from text. So from text, you click extract. Then you've got all these options that are over here. So just click text after delimiter. So text after delimiter. And then you can see it's giving us an error. So I'll just click insert. And then here you have to specify your delimiter. So my delimiter is a minus sign because that's what's separating the different dates. And then you can click OK. So it will pick everything. For example, for the first option, 10-03. So it will pick 03 2018. And that's what you have over here at the end. So I'll click cancel because that column has already been created. You can see we've got 10 03 2018, being shortened to 03 2018. Yeah, hope that was clear. Then you've got the other steps, which will be straightforward. So 1 more minute and then we proceed. So which column is empty, Frederick? Okay, so for those who are done up to this point, you can click on home, then close and apply. Okay, so if I close and apply, what we'll need to check again is the model view. So we mentioned that we are supposed to look at the model view because we've never had a look at this. So today we've loaded two datasets in. And for model view, you can see we've got the details table and then we've got the tables, the orders table. So how are these two tables related to each other? You can see for details table, we've got order ID. And then for orders table, we've got the order ID column. So not W, but Power BI is intelligent enough to know that there exists a relationship between order ID in the details table and order ID in the orders table. So they get linked together. And then if you wanted to customize how this relationship works, you can customize it over here, but this is something I wouldn't recommend. And if you were to maybe edit this, I will suggest you edit it on a database level and not on this level. So let's proceed. I see we've got questions. Let me have a look at them first. So does the loaded date depend on the piece on the date format in your PC? Okay, so I guess it might be based off the PC because I guess we have the UK format and we've got the United States format. So for you, if you are working with the United States date format, then it should be okay. But that extra step that I've shown is helpful because it shows you how you can maybe handle dates just in case you get errors. Yeah. So that is the model view tab. Should be self-explanatory. So it shows you how different tables are linked to each other. And then as I mentioned earlier, I'm going to show you how we can run codes over here in the DAX query overview. But before we come here, so I wouldn't want you to write in your codes directly from here. So what I would like you to do is edit code that the model has generated for you already, because typing in codes from scratch uh, is not great and you won't maybe have time to learn all that afresh. So we will head over to the visuals view. I will confirm everything is okay over here. So everything should be okay. And then we can have a look at the table view. So in the table view, this is what we have. As mentioned earlier, I said that I'll show you how we can create new columns, and basically that's what we are going to do here. So for the details table, we've got the amount and profit column, and then we've got the quantity column. So if we wanted to know how much was paid in total, we could do something like amount multiplied by quantity. So we can create a new column called maybe totals. So for us to create a new columns, I'll click on home over here, and then we've got the option for new column. So if I click on new column, so you can see uh, this is the icon that represents the creation of new columns, and we are going to create a new column over here. So for the new column, we are going to have the totals, and totals should be equal to what is our name for the table, so details. Then we select the amount column. Then we will have these multiplied by details, then the quantity column. So this will show you the totals, or we can say total sales. Okay, then you can click OK. So it will show you, for example, 275 multiplied by 4 should give you 110. Okay, so this is basically how you create new columns for your data. So for measures, what we've created before, if you create a measure over here, you'll not be able to see it here in the tables view, but for new columns, you are able to see them in the tables view. Okay, so let me copy this code and maybe add it to our notes over here. So new column, that is the code for the new column. You can open the notes and you'll find it there. So I'll give you a minute to create this and then maybe give me an idea of what kind of new column you would like us to create. Let's proceed to save on time. If we look at the category column over here, you can see we've got three different categories. So if we wanted to maybe represent them in terms of new different values, so how will we do it? So we would create a new column and we will use a function called stitch to extract new values, to extract and come up with new column values. Okay, so let me confirm the unique categories that we have. So we have clothing, electronics, and furniture. So for clothing, I can maybe group these under people. For electronics, I can group it under tech. And for furniture, I can group it under home. So maybe we can group furniture and electronics together and have clothing as a category on its own. So I'll click new column. And then here we are going to say instead of category, we are going to have something else, a different name. Maybe let's say product group. And product groups should be equal to switch. So switch will allow you to switch the column. So returns different results depending on the value of an expression. So here we're going to have true. So when true, uh, you're going to select the column, so details, and then we are going to have category. So where category is equal to clothing, let it be replaced with, so what can we replace this with? So I can say home, for example, comma, then we do the same for the other two. So apart from category clothing, we have category electronics. electronics. So for electronics, we are going to group it under tech, and then furniture. Yeah, let's group furniture under home as well. So that's what we have. And if we have any other value that is not any of the three that we've shown up there, we can say let it be grouped under not found. So that is the code. I'll copy this and I'll share it with you in the Notion link, or I can share it with you here in chat as well. I've shared the formula in chat. I'll click OK, and then we can see what the formula creates. So you can see we've got categories, and then we've got the product grouping. So we've got product, home, and tech. So we don't have any value that hasn't been found. So you've seen how you create new columns. So with these two examples over here, you learn how you can create new columns. So for total sales, this is something you can create as a measure. But for something like product grouping, this is not something that you can create as a measure, because for measures, it's only meant for aggregations. For changing what is in a column, you'll have to use the new column option, and that is available for you over here in table view. So I'll give you guys 2 minutes to work on that, and then we can proceed. So we will head back to the reports view and then create maybe a few measures. And once we've got the data ready and everything fully prepared, we can start creating we can create the visualizations. But before we create the visualizations, we will have to look at the DAX query view part as well. So 2 minutes, you have a look at this, and then we proceed on to the next part at 8:54. If you've got a question, you can ask. Let's proceed. So that is the part for new columns. So I'll click OK, then I can minimize this. So let's go to the build visuals part. So that is the report view. And for the report view, we can create something similar to the total sales, but as a measure instead of having it as a new column. So you'll see for total sales, it's available here in the table view. But if we create it as a measure, are we going to see it in the tables view? So I'll click quick measure, and then we can select a calculation. So for this calculation, I'll move to the bottom over here, and then I'll select mathematical operations. Then we'll have multiplication. So under multiplication, I'll add the base value. So I'll click add data, then we'll go to details. So base value is supposed to be amount, and then value to multiply with. So I'll click add data, and then we are going to multiply this with the quantity. And then we are going to click add. So if I click add, you can see it generates the formula for me over here. So we've got this multiplication over here. So I'll say total sales measure, because this is different from the column name, and then I'll click OK. So that will rename the column that I've created. Let me expand this. You can see we've got total sales and total sales measure. So if I head over to the tables view, will we have the total sales measure? You can see we don't have the total sales measure. So for the total sales measure, that is something that has been created, and it had been stored somewhere in the backend as a model for Power BI. And if we drag total sales measure here, you can see we've got 2 billion in total sales. And if we drag total sales from here, we've got 2M as the number. So there is a slight difference, but we can investigate and see what's causing this difference. So I'll click total sales measure, and here we can try remove the sum, but if we remove the aggregation, don't know what will happen. Yeah, so it's not working. So we can have something like sum x. Let's see if summation of x works. Okay, so this won't work because yeah, let's have sum and then sum. So that is for the new measure. Let me copy this and share it with you in the code. So you see for the measure that we've created, it's giving us 2 billion in terms of the total sales, and then for column-wise operations, it's giving us 2 million. So that's quite a big difference, and you've seen where measures are best and where actually creation of new columns are best. So what else can we create here as a measure? So we can have something like the profit ratio. So we'll click quick measure. I'll click quick measure, I'll select a calculation. And then over here for the calculation, we are going to have division or percentage difference, for example. So let's pick percentage difference. So our base value is going to be the amount, and then value to compare, we are going to compare amount with the profit that has been made. And then for blank outputs, you can produce blanks in the output or treat as 0 in the calculation. So I'll click add, and it will create the formula for you over here to calculate the profit difference. So we can say this is the profit percentage, and then we can say this is the profit percentage measure. Then I'll click OK. I'll copy this code and I'll share it with you in the chat. Okay, so we have that. If we drag profit percentage measure to our visual Canva, this is what we get. So negative 95.61, which should be, if we interchange these values, let's see what we get. So profit, value to compare, we compare it with the amount. Let's add. If we compare that with what we have down here, we've got 1084.35 as the percentage difference. Though the calculations that I've done over here, so base value is profit, value to compare is amount. So this should be the correct, the second one should be the correct one. But I doubt that the total profit percentage is 91.56. So for us to check and confirm if this is okay, we'll have to create a new column and check. So I'll create a third measure, so third final measure. And for third final measure, we can check something over here. We can look at, let me see. Weighted average per category. So for weighted average per category, we have to pick the base value. So base value is supposed to be the amount. And for amount, you can pick a value over here. And then we are going to weigh. And then for weigh, we are going to pick the category over here. Okay, so for weight, we need to pick a numeric value again. So I'll pick profit, and then for category, I'll pick my category over here, and then I'll add. So if I add that, we've got the sum of amount weighted by sum of profit per category, and then this is the formula. So I'll share the formula with you in the chat. So that is the formula. So I'll click OK, and we will have these 1, 2, 3, 4. So we've got 4 different measures. So if you want to edit all these 4 different measures all at once, so how would you do it? That is something that I'll show you next. So I'll give you 2 minutes to have a look at what we've created over here, and then we can proceed. Okay, let's proceed. So let's have a look at this DAX code editor that we have over here, and how is it different from what we've been creating over here. So as you all know, this is DAX as well, but how is it different from what we've been doing before? So over here, the difference is you'll have to define and evaluate any new measure that you are creating. So if I click on the details tables that we have over here, you can see we've got these more options button at the far end, at the far right end of our code. So I can click on more options, then you see we've got the option for quick queries, and then we've got this part for defining a new measure, define all measures in this table, and define all measures in this model. So if you click define new measure, you can see it creates a code for you for defining this new measure. So you define, then measure. So over here you create your measure name. So for example, we can have details, and then we can select maybe the profit percentage and all that. and then you can count the rows for that, or you can, so this is supposed to be your measure name, so you can do all that. And then once you've defined your measure, you evaluate it, and in evaluate it will show you the results. So the evaluate is supposed to show you the results down here. So you'll have summarize columns, and then this should be the new measure and the actual measure name. So I'll delete this, and then I'll show you how we can check the measures that we've created for this table. So those are the measures that we have over here. So over here on DAX-J, you're going to click these three dots, then you're going to click on quick queries, and then you are going to define all measures in this table. So if you click define all measures in this table, over here, you'll get to see all the measures that have been created. So under evaluate, you can see we've got the total sales measure, we've got the profit percentage measure, we've got the sum of amount as a percentage difference from sum of profit. So you can change this name to something else, as something as sample, but you'll have to change it up here as well. So this is what happens. So for example, you've got measures, details, total sales measure, and then here we have sum of amount multiplied by sum of quantity. Okay, so you can edit them over here. So you can, instead of having amount multiplied by quantity, you can even change it to profit. So the use of DAX-J is just to edit any code that you've created under report view, and edit them all over here at once if you want to. And this will help you in cases whereby you want to edit the measure names first. So for example, we can say this is sample, go down here and change it to sample again. And then here we can change this to category, or let's say sample 2, and then change the same down here as sample 2, and change this to sample as well, and then change this to sample 2, and then you can rerun your code. So you can see for the DAX queries editor, it gives you an overall overview of the DAX measures that you've created, and it's supposed to show you sample outputs of everything that you are running. So over here on this end, we will have to drag in the exact measures to see what are their outputs. But over here, we can see their outputs directly. And basically, that's the use of this tab. So it's there for you to check all the queries that you've created for your DAX codes in under report view. Any questions on this part? What I've shown you. So once you've done the changes, so for example, you've seen we've changed the names of two columns that we have over here. What you can do is you can click update model with your changes. So those are 4 changes that I've done. So I'll click that, and then I'll click update model. And if you go back to your report view, you'll get to see those 2 new columns that you've created under DAX. So DAX-J is for those people who are dedicated to writing queries where they can have space to type in all their queries all at once. Yeah, so that's it for the DAX-J part. In 1 minute, we are going to start the project. And for the project, it's basically creating a dashboard over here that is good looking and well customized. So we are going to have a 1 minute, or let's say a 5 minutes break, and then we'll start the creation process for the dashboard. Yeah, if you've got questions, you can ask in the meantime. So that will be the last thing that we will do for Power BI, and then I'll give you an assignment on the same, and then next week we are going to have a look at a new topic or a new unit. So 5 minutes break and then we proceed. Let's proceed. We can start creating our visualization. So for you to create your dashboard, you'll need a structure first of all. You'll need to know where each and every element should be. So these are some of the resources that I will recommend you to have a look at. So you can maybe open Dribble. So dribble.com and then search for something like a sales dashboard. If you search for sales dashboard, then you'll get ideas on things that you can create. For example, we have these, we've got these, and then these. So we can have a look at this, and then use it as inspiration to what we'll create. So I'll head back to Power BI, and then we can start by creating things that matter to us most of all. So for these sales data, if I expand the data, we've got the amount of sales. So the first thing that we'll need to check is maybe what are the total sales per category. So I'll click on build, and then for this we can use a Donald chart or a pie chart, but for me I'll pick a chart. And before maybe we start with the charts, we can start with text data. So we can start with what were the total sales amount. So total sales amount were 438K. I can resize this, just reduce the size of what we have over here, place it somewhere. What else can we pick? The total quantity. So this is total quantity. We can resize it to match what we have in the sales amount column. And then what we can add again is profit. What were the total profits made? So this is the total profit, 37K. You resize it again to fit what you have over here. And then what else can we add over here? We can add the average amount for each order. So I'll pick amount over here. And then instead of sum, we are going to have the average. So average was 291. So you can have that. And then lastly, we can add the average profit. So average profit was 26.64. So those are the values that we would like to see represented in text format. So 2 minutes, you work on creating these as well on your end, and then we can proceed. If you are stuck at maybe any point, you can unmute and ask a question. Okay, so you should have this part and you should be okay with this part. So we are going to create our first plot. And for our first plot is going to be a clustered column chart. And for this clustered column chart, what we will basically like to see is what were the total sales for each month. So I'll pick maybe the order cohort date. You can see we've got the order hierarchy. I'll select month. I'll drag month over there. And then for our y-axis, we'll need the amount. Yeah, so that's basically what we have. So these were the sales for each month end. So you can track and see if there are any seasonalities in the sales that were made. So that is plot number one. You drag order cohort, then you select the month column. And then for what you are checking is you are checking the sum of total amounts that were sold for each month. You can do the same for profit. You select a new column chart, and then you select uh, month as your x-axis data, and for y-axis data you select profit. So this will show you what were the total profits for each month. So you'll get to see which months are profitable and which months are not profitable. So that's what we have. So those are the two new plots that we'll need. So work on them in the next 2 minutes. If you are stuck on any part, you can unmute, raise your hand, and ask a question. So at the moment, we are basically just creating random plots but we are going to resize them and style them again, and maybe even change the design for what we have over here. And we'll do that in a few, so that our end result is something that is well customized and good looking. So 2 minutes, you have a look at that, and at 9:22 we will proceed. Let's proceed. We've got our two curves ready. What we are going to add next is, for example, what was the amount paid per category. So I'll select, you can pick product grouping, so we can start with that. So we've got home and tech products. You can change these to a pie chart or a get chart. So these will show you different things. But for this, I'll basically use a donut chart just for aesthetics. So that is plot number one. Then another plot that we can add is amount by category, and then change it to donut chart. So we've got amount by category. So kindly note that just doing these in random, so there is no styling or design. So we'll do the styling and design later on. And then lastly, we can have quantity by category. So just three different plots with three different outputs. So that's what we have: quantity by category and sum of amount paid by category. We can actually delete this because we've got this by product grouping. And what we can replace that with is quantity by maybe payment mode. So what was the quantity sold for each payment mode? And then we can change this to a donut chart as well. So we've got that. And then we can create some, maybe three last few charts that we can have for these specific dashboard that we are building, and that can be something like a clustered bar chart. So for the clustered bar chart, I can select it. This is a donut chart. I'll select the clustered bar chart, and for the clustered bar chart, we can have maybe three of them. So another thing that maybe I had not mentioned is you can see the details column is not linked. We've got two different tables over here, and on the model view, we said that they have been linked, basically using the order ID column. Okay, so if you have a look at what we have over here, for example, for the sum of profit by month, we got the month data from the orders table, and then profit we got it from the details column. So these tables are linked together, basically using the order ID column. So if we were to remove the relationship that exists, then some of these plots will not work. So let's add visuals for this. So we are going to have the amount sold by state. So you'll get to see the top states over here. So you can filter these to maybe see the top four. I'll have that. And then we can have the profit by maybe subcategory. So we are going to have profit, and then we can add subcategory, and then it will create what we need. So we'll pick the top four subcategories as well over here. And for our last plot, we would like to check, what would we like to check? So these are the columns that we have: total sales measure, total sales, subcategory, quantity, profit, product group, payment method, and all that. We've got the city, cohort, customer name, order ID. So yeah, we can pick maybe customer name. So we would like to know who are the top four customers that we have in this database. So we'll pick customer name, and then we are going to add profit to that. So we're going to filter this to give us the top four customers that gave us the most profit. So I've created the plots first, but I believe that is something that you can copy some of the plots that I've created, and then we are going to format them next. So I'll give you 3 minutes to do that, because I believe there are many plots that I've created. Let me resize some of them for you to see what I have, and then we can proceed in 3 minutes. So that is at 9:30 p.m. So for the next 30 minutes, we are going to restructure this report and make it look a little bit more beautiful, and then yeah, we can publish it. So 3 minutes, and then we proceed. Let's proceed. So we are going to format this report that we have over here. So for us to format it, we'll need to decide how it's going to be structured. So I'll move everything to my right hand side, and then for text, I'll move it to the bottom, and then I'll decide how I want it to be. So first of all, if I wanted to add any filters to this data, I would have this special part over here. So maybe I can click insert. On insert, we've got shapes. So at this part over here, this is part, uh, this is where I would wish to add any slicers. So I'll show you what slicers are. Okay. So this is, or maybe we can design the everything here in page 2. So this is where I would like my slicers to be. Okay. Up at the top there, that is where I would like my slicers to be. And then over here, this next part, let's format this and change its color. So shape style, fill, orange. So after the slicers, this is where I would like to add my, okay, so this is for slicers and all that. This is where I would like to add the pie charts. And then after that, we will move on to the next part, insert. I'll move on to this part. So this is where we will wish to add maybe a bar chart. And then for all the text will be here in the middle. So all the text summaries will be summarized here in the middle. And then all the other plots that we have will be visualized here. So for example, these will be chart number 1. This will be chart number 2. This will be chart number 3. And then at the bottom, we can have something else if need be. So let's start and work on the dashboard using this structure. So we are going to start with this part. So we've mentioned that we can add slicers. So there are different ways of doing this. So for example, on our visual, we don't have the category included. So we've got two options for slicers. You can see we've got the button slicer, and then we've got the slicer, the exact slicer. So we are going to start maybe with the button slicer. So I can select that. And then we have this. So for button slicer, what we can do is we can drag and drop category over there. And this is what you get. So you'll get a slicer whereby you can click on any category and these visuals will change based off that. So for example, if I click on clothing, you can see the numbers change. If I click on electronics, the numbers change as well. And if I click on furniture, the numbers that we have over here change as well. If you want to select them all, you can use Control plus click to select all of them. So that is our button slicer for category. Another slicer that we will add is this kind of slicer. So I can click on that. And then what we can do is we can add something like a city over here. And for city, you can customize how this slicer looks like, but I'm going to resize it first of all, just to fit what we have up here on the top, and then we can edit it further while we are doing our analysis. So that is how you add slicers. So slicers are actually used to add interactivity to your dashboard, where someone can filter out numbers based of what they are seeing in here. So that is for the slicers part. So the next part, we said we are supposed to add these donut charts that we have. So we have 3 of them. So we are going to add them over here. So we are going to start with the sum of quantity made by payment mode, and then we resize it. Then sum of quantity by category, we resize it, and then sum of amount paid by product group. So how are we going to maybe make sure that this donut chart looks a little bit great? We can increase the size of these first of all. And what we will need to do is we will need to remove these legend because it's consuming a lot of irrelevant space. So for us to edit and remove these legends that we have over here, we are going to click on the format option. So I can remove the filters option because we actually don't need it. I can close the data tab because we don't need it, and I can close the build tab because we don't need it as well. And then we are going to start with the title. And for title, we've got sum of quantity by payment mode. So you can change it to something else. So for example, for me, I will make it short and then let it be something like payment mode, and then center it. And then that will be it for the title. So the next thing that you will do is you will look at the legend. So we said that we don't need the legend, so I'll turn it off. So we only have the numbers. And then for us to see the actual payment mode, I'll click on details, and then underscore details, we've got the label contents option. So you're going to change these from date, data value, and percentage of total to all detailed labels. So if you click on all detailed labels, you can see we've got the payment method and the actual payments made, and then the percentage. Then we can resize it to be a little bit better. Yeah. So that's it for the first plot. I can actually remove the numbers over here, and for detail labels, we can have the category and the percentage total. So that looks better, and you can actually see everything from that. So that is the first customization that we have for the pie plot. Another customization that we can do is we can change the font color over here. So let me get Afric CDSA brand colors. We'll have something that is branded under Afric CDSA. So we've got this orange color, which I guess will be great. I'll share the color ID with you in the chat as well. Yeah. So that is the color code. I've shared the color code with you in the chat. Let's proceed. So here we have Power BI for the header. Let me expand this. So for the title, I'll choose a text color, I'll choose more colors, and then I'll paste in the color code. Then I can click enter. So that is our color for the header. And then what we are going to do is we are going to add a border. So for the border, we are going to click on style and size, and then we are going to have a look at the visual border part. So for visual border, we are going to put it on, and then we are going to use sorry, that is the background should be white. So for visual border, we'll enable it, and then we'll use this orange color. And then for roundedness, we are going to add 16 pixels for the border roundness. So that is part number one. So payment mode. Okay, so payment mode, I guess I'll need to customize this title as well to be more clear. So for title, it's going to be payment mode quantity. Yeah, that's better. Let's apply the same styling for the second plot. So I'll select it, and then we're going to start with the title. So we are going to have category quantity. And for title, we are going to center it, and then we are going to select a color for the title, orange, to match what was there before. After title, what we are going to customize next is on the background. So we are going to add a visual border, select the same color for the visual border, and then for border size, we are going to have 16 pixels. And then we are going to customize the legend. We don't need it on. And then on details, we are going to select the category and percentage of total. And then we can resize this to fit in here better. So just make sure the height is matching what is there in the previous plot, and then make sure all the text are a little bit visible. Okay, so that's what we have. Then we can customize the last pie chart, so we can resize it. So we are going to change the background, so we are going to add a visual border, change the color, and then add some rounded pixels for the end, and then change the title as well. So for title over here, we are going to have product group amount, and then we are going to center everything. And then for text color, we are going to use the orange text color. So we've got product group amount. The last thing we're going to edit over here is on the legend. So we deactivate the legend, and then on the details, we pick category and percentage of total. So that's what we have. So that's the first part of our dashboard. You can see it's good looking. So the next thing we said that we are going to add is these bar chart. So I'll move the text over to the right. We are going to resize them and change how they look. So we are going to move the sum of profit by month over here. And then I'll resize it to fit what we have over here in our canvas, and then we are going to customize it. So for this, I'll edit its style. We are going to start with the size and style, and we are going to add a visual border as well over here. Choose the same color that we've been choosing and add the same number of pixels for rounding of the corners. So that's what we have. You can see it's looking now. Then we can drag it to the end and then resize it to match what we have over here in our pie charts. And then for this plot, we'll customize the title again. So click on title. We can leave it as it is, center it, make it bold, and then change the color to our orange color. And then what we'll need to do is, we are working with the orange color as our brand color. We can change the actual styling of the bar charts that we are seeing over here. So over here, we are going to check the x-axis. So x-axis is month and sum of profit. We can change the labels for those months as well to match what we have, but we can leave it at black. Let's go to silence sizing. We don't need a shadow over there. On a visual, we've got the plot area background. You can add numbers, data labels. We don't need the data labels. And then for columns, this is where we are going to pick the actual color for the bar charts. So we head over to columns. Then for all categories, we select a unique color. So I'll select orange. So that changes the color for our bar chart to be orange. So that's what we have. So we are done with the first part, that is this part. So the next part is the middle part, where we can add our text numbers. But I guess for text numbers, it wouldn't be great adding them here in the middle, because we will need space still to add these other plots that are remaining over here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add these text numbers up here at the top, and then we are going to restyle them. Okay, so they'll all be up here at the top of our dashboard, and then we are going to restyle them. Okay, so let's start with the first one. So we are going to have a look at the style and size. So we are going to add a visual border, change the color to match what we've been using. Pixels, 16 pixels. Same for this. Let's start with the visual border, same color, pixels, 16 pixels. For the next one, visual border, same color and 16 pixels. For this one, visual border, same color, 16 pixels. For the last one, visual border, we pick the same color that we've been using and then we add 16 pixels to that visual border. So that's what we have, and then we can change the actual sizing of the numbers that we have over here. So we are going to have a look at the category label, and for the category label, that is this number that you are seeing down here. Okay, so you can change it, increasing the number and reducing it. So we are going to use the same brand color that we've been using, and then for the number that we have at the top over here, we are going to have it as it is at black. So that is the callout value. So the callout value, you can change its color to our brand color and reduce the size. So we are going to use 20. 20 seems to be small. Let's have 50. 50 is big. Let's have 30. Yeah, so 30 should be okay. Then resize this. So we've got average profit. It's there. Doesn't fit this part actually better. So we'll need to resize the number again. So we can have 20. And then, so for callout value, we can have 20, and category label, we can reduce its size as well. So 20 needs to be resized again, 15. Yeah, so that should be okay. So here we've got 15 and 8. So we do the same for this part. We are going to change this to 15. And then this is going to be 8. Then we choose a font color that matches what we've been using. And then we resize. We do the same for this again. So we'll need 15 as our font size. Choose our brand color, and then over here choose 8, and then choose the brand color that we are using. Then for this, we can reduce its width. Same for this, just to fit the Canva that we have over here. So we'll need to make sure everything, all the text numbers are fitting in here. So here we are going to change the callout value size to 15 again. Change the color to orange. Then change this to 8. Change the color to orange again. And that should be okay. Then finally, we can do the last number. So change it to 15. And then 8. Change the colors to match what we have. And now we've got all the numbers up here at the top. So we can resize them to actually look a little bit more uniform. Yeah, so that should be better. So we've got our dashboard coming in, and you can see it's something that is looking a little bit better. So before I customize what we have down here, we'll need to customize the slicers that we have. So I've selected the slicer. We're going to edit the title. So for the title, we are going to change its color to orange, and then we can center it. And apart from the title, we'll need to change the style. So we add a visual border, we add a color for our visual border, and then here we add some roundedness, so 16 pixels, so what we've been using so far. So, and then we move it to the first part. And then apart from that, we've got the callout values, so you can change what we have over here. So we can change the font size and all that. So on values, let's change the font size. Let's reduce it. So I've reduced it to 8. Then we can change the color. So I've changed the color to be orange, and then you can change the transparency. Then I'll need them aligned to the center. Then display units, I will leave it as it is. So that is for the first filter. Let's edit this second one as well. So size and position should be okay. For visual border, we add our brand color and then we make it 16 pixels. And over here, instead of having a select box, what I'm going to do is we are going to I'll click build, so we should have the option for changing this slicer. So it's actually not on build but on format. So let me close build. On format, we've got slicer settings. So on slicer settings, instead of having a vertical list, what I'll do is I'll select a drop down. So the drop down will allow us to pick any value that we want. And then for this, that should be okay, because that is straightforward. So we can select that and then pick any value that we would want. So for example, these, so you can see the plots are changing based off what we've selected. Here we will need to, on slicer settings, we will need to have an option for select, so single select, and not actually single select, but we will need to activate the option for select all, so that if we want to see the data for all the cities, we just click select all. So that's what we add. So our dashboard is good looking. We've got these 3 other plots remaining. So this is what we are going to fix. We are going to start by sum of profit by subcategory. So we will add that up here at the top, resize it to fill in the missing part, and then move it up. So we'll need only the top 4. Add this second plot up here as well, resize it, and then resize it to fit in only the top 4 values, and then add the last plot. And for the last plot, you resize it again to have maybe to fill in these remaining canvas space that we have over here. And then what you do next is you edit the title and the plot values that we have over here. So we add a visual border. For the visual border, it's supposed to be 16 pixels. For color, we select our brand color, and then we edit the title again. So for title, we select our brand color and we center it. So that's it for the first plot. So for the first plot, we'll need to edit the values to be, so we'll need to edit these bar charts to be same, to use the same brand color that we have down here. So I'll click on bars, and then under color, we select our brand color. So that's it for that. We go on to the second one, we select our brand color, and for our last one, we select our brand color as well. And another thing is we'll need to resize this to be the same width. Yeah, so that should be okay. So you can see over here we've got this option for interacting with this plot. We don't need that, so we'll need to add filters. So I'll add filters, and for filters we are going to select subcategory, and under subcategory we are going to we're supposed to pick the top n. Okay, so instead of basic filtering, we are going to pick the top n, and then we'll have the top 4, and then we click apply filter. So by value, so we'll need to add a data field over here. So this should be by profit. Apply filter, so we've got the top 4. So these are some of the things that we've done before. Then we do this again. So amount by state. I'll do the formatting. So we'll edit the title, change its brand color, center it, and then do some filtering. So for filtering, we are going to filter by state, then top n, and then we are going to filter by top 4. So it's amount of, it's what we are checking over here is amount. So we'll drag amount to value, then we are going to apply filter. So we've got the top 4. And then lastly, over here under customer name, we are going to filter the customer name by top n. So let's say over here we will need maybe the top 6 customers. And then for the top 6 customers, we are filtering this value by profit. Then we apply filter. So everything is fully set over there. So let's customize the borders, and lastly do the background. So for this, what I would like to do is maybe drag these downwards a little bit and resize these to fit these canvas that we have over there. And then this one can be resized a little bit, and then we can edit the border. So I'll click on size, I'll add a visual border, use our brand color, and then make it 16 pixels. And then lastly, we'll edit this as well. So add a visual border, add our brand colors, and then make it 16 pixels. Yeah, and then we finalize with the title. So I'll select title, I'll select our brand color, and then I'll center it. Yeah, let me save the changes just to make sure everything is saved. So I'll click on file, then save as, browse on this device. So we've got the save file. So this will be our sales dashboard. Then I'll save. Yeah, so sales dashboard last saved today 9:58 p.m. So I'll click save again. So once we've done that, here we've got our plot. Let me resize it. Yeah, and everything should be matching. Let's drag this to the end. Let me drag this to go downwards a little bit, then I can move this downwards, then move this to the end, then resize, then I can save. So from what we've done, you can see we've come up with a dashboard that's a little bit good looking. So one of the things that we'll need to customize further over here is the slicers. So maybe I can remove the title, and for slicer settings, we've got the single select option. I'll add, you can add the option for select all, and yeah, you can select basically all. So what I'll need to do is you'll need to figure out an option for maybe editing these as images. For example, for clothings, add an image for clothing, electronics, add an image for electronics, and for furniture, add an image for furniture. What you can do over here is you can edit your buttons as well. So for buttons, I'll edit the fill. So for fill, you can pick any color, but let me not overcomplicate this and leave it as it is. Yeah, so this is our dashboard. You can see we've got the donut chart for the payment mode quantity, category quantity, the product group amount. We've got the sum of profit by month. I guess there is a last plot over here at the end. So I'll delete this because the Canva is already filled. We've got the sum of profit by subcategory, so the top 4. We've got sum of amount by state, shows you the top states. And then we've got the sum of profit by customer name. So this is basically the dashboard that we've created. So it's something that's good looking and something that you can present to others. Okay, so I believe I've moved fast on this part for the dashboard creation, but you should be able to maybe follow up what I've done in the class recording. So once you've created your dashboard, so what what can you do? So you can save it and share it with others as a file, or what you can do is, you can see over here I'm logged into my account. I can click on share and then click the share button. So here you'll have the option for uploading it to OneDrive or doing it as a SharePoint. So you can start with OneDrive or SharePoint. Okay, so SharePoint is for online access for individuals who are in your organization. Okay, and then we've got the other option, which is Power BI service. So when we were introducing you to Power BI, this is what I mentioned. So we've got Power BI desktop and Power BI service. So this is an online based version. So what you are going to do is you are going to let me open it. So you'll need Power BI service, and then you are going to sign into Power BI service. So app.powerbi.com. Let me log in with my email. And once you're logged in over here, you're supposed to see all the reports that you've done. So you can click on new report, and then you can pick a published semantic model that you have. Okay, or what you could do is you could upload what you've already done over here, or check to see what has been done by others. So once you've published your Power BI report over here on app.powerbi.com, you should be able to share the link with other individuals and see. And then they will be able to see what you've done. So let me wrap up everything by uploading the Power BI report that we've created over here in the final summary part. And then you can ask questions if you have any. So file, I'll choose file. Then we've got the sales dashboard. I've saved it there. So this is our final dashboard for our analysis. So it should be something that you can share with others. Yeah, so this is my Power BI report published. I'll share this link with you in the chat as well. So this is page 1. This is page 2. So page 1 is interactive. You can filter by values that you want. Yeah, so it should be fully functional. Let me add that to the notes. Okay, so that should be it for today. I'll stop the class recording.